So you work for the World Bank, you contract with World Bank and MSF, and you said you're doing a lot of accessibility modeling. What is that? And can you go a little bit more into that? How are you using that in both of those contracting jobs?
Yeah, so it's quite cool how life comes together. I was working as a GIS specialist in Bangladesh for my first mission. My replacement came from the World Bank. He was working as a consultant for the World Bank. We spoke together about the things that I had done before that and what that he was busy with doing for the World Bank. And we saw a lot of like synergies in our interests and then what we were doing. That's how I got involved in the World Bank. Then I did some work together with them. And then I saw the potential of the World Bank's research. So the World Bank's research focuses on accessibility modeling, trying to simulate the travel times from anywhere on the terrain to essential services or health sites, anything using realistic data and not just, proximity or linear distances. It takes into account topography, land cover, water, roads, road speeds, walking speeds, things like this, and also population data. And then we can have an idea of, for example, what percentage of the population lies within 1 hour of a health facility, what percentage lies more than 3 hours, and then actually visualize that on a map and say, this is the population that is more than 3 hours away, but using practical times, that takes into account walking and road travel. And that's where they can then focus where to locate services and things like this. Or in the World Bank's case, they focus on where to build new roads to improve the accessibility to services. So where I saw the links between that and MSF is that, okay, we are not building roads, but we need to find places, the locations for health sites. Where do we want to put a clinic? Where do we want to put a hospital? Or what is the general accessibility of population to our healthcare? Where are the gaps? And can we identify where the population is not covered? And then we don't necessarily have to build a hospital there, but at least we know this part of the population is more isolated, and we can do outreach, mobile clinic activities over there. So it can provide us with a lot of insights in terms of people's accessibility to healthcare and realistic insights, detailed and practical. So that's how I took these ideas from the World Bank and started, advocating for the use of this within MSF for MSF's purposes. And so now we kind of got a synergy going on, which is great to have the World Bank and MSF using and working together on the same essential code that can be used for so many different things. For the World Bank, for example, I modeled the impact or the shock of the flooding that they had there 2 years ago. It was like 2/3 of the country almost underwater. And so using your spatial data, it's so cool what you can do with it. So you can model accessibility during a regular season, and then you take your flooding extent layer, put it on top and say, this is the new extent, this is where there's water, we take away all the roads underneath everything, it's not accessible. What is the new accessibility picture? And then we can see which areas have been impacted the most. And so in the World Bank's case, they can then say, okay, we need to go and respond there. We need to rehabilitate the roads over here to restore access to certain services. In MSF's case, now we can look at the flooding and how accessibility has changed and see, oh, wow, like in this area over here, 20,000 people, according to the population data, 20,000 people, their access times to healthcare has gone from 30 minutes to 4 hours. There will be impacts everywhere, but we can then identify the places where the most people have been impacted the most severely and then focus activities over there. So it's quite cool how these things come together, different usages or outputs or desirables, but exactly the same methods to get to these, to get to the results and the insights.